71% of our planet is covered by oceans, and our lives are interdependent on them. The major resource that we are provided with by the saline waters is seafood, and over the last 7 decades, the fishing industry has faced many heights and valleys, resulting in no common trend throughout these years in the mass of fish that were obtained. One of the major causes of the irregular patterns is overfishing, along with many other contributing conditions. We are in the second decade of the 21st century when the population is increasing tremendously, as a result of which there is an increase in demand for seafood, and this, along with the absence of proper laws and restrictions on fishing, could possibly result in a tremendous shortage of food for the public in the next 3 decades. We, the students of Dubai Scholars Private School, have carried out an intense investigation into overfishing and laws that prevent it on the coast of the United Arab Emirates, which can help to infuse a spark of sustainability into the industry in the upcoming years. This can help reduce the increased risk of food shortages that we might face if we continue to excessively exploit the oceans and the resources it provides us with. We proudly present to you Into the Blue.
I have arrived right now at Souk Al Jubail. It's a very popular fish and vegetable market in Sharjah. Approximately how many kilos of fish do you sell in a day?
100 kilo, 18 kilo, 17 kilo, 120 kilo.
What are the most popular fish in the UAE?
Polar machi hoga, salmon, amur, jesh, chenat, kingfish, sipas, sibrin, shari.
Have the sales increased or decreased compared to the initial stages of COVID-19?
अभी कमती है अभी वो ठंडी की सीज़न है मछली में तो ठंडी का सीज़न में अच्छा काम होता है सेल अच्छा भी होता है ये मछली ज़्यादा है गर्मी में मछली कमती आता है
Do you feel like overfishing takes place in the UAE?
नहीं समुद्र में मछली किधर कमती है ज़्यादा मछली पकड़ेगा समुद्र में मछली कमती नहीं लेकिन मछली का क्वालिटी पकड़ने का छोटा मछली नहीं पकड़ने का इधर है जो सिस्टम में बस पूरा बड़ा मछली कम से कम 4 इंची 5 इंची का ऐसा ऊपर पकड़ता है और तो छोटी सा बच्चा होता है इसमें से तो रहता है
Do you think that there's a lot of wastage of fish in the UAE?
हाँ कभी लगता है
I was actually kind of surprised how well they were able to portray a positive image of the fishing industry. But, I feel like this is just the top layer. There is much more that is under all this, information they're sharing with us. So, example, if I asked them that how many fish do you sell in a day, they so proudly said 100 to 200 kilos. This is just one market. If they continue at this rate, they will someday run out of fish and the rates will start increasing as the number of fish decrease. So I feel like we have to find out more and dig deeper into this. Do you think fisheries are exploited?
Yes, I think that the fisheries are exploited. People are eating more fish as it is a healthy source of protein. Many years ago, we were dependent mostly on marine fish, and now the exploitation has gone up to 87%. It is a good thing that now we are focusing more on aquaculture and sustainable fisheries.
What type of nets do you use to catch fish?
There are different types of nets used to catch fish. However, most are drift nets, surrounding nets, drag nets, gill nets, etc.
Are there particular seasons in the UAE that yield more fish?
During the breeding seasons, the quality and the yield of the fish will be reduced, despite the fact that they are being caught all year round. It is generally from December to May for most of the marine fish species.
How can you prevent overfishing?
Some strategies are to increase awareness among fishermen worldwide. Sustainable fishing, international cooperation, and coordination between different countries on sustainable fishing, and implementing laws in coordination with the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization, and the WTO, the World Trade Organization.
What are some laws in place to prevent overfishing?
United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. Magnuson-Stevens Fishery Conservation and Management Act, the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972, the MMPA, and the National Marine Sanctuaries Act are some laws in place against overfishing.
Do you think these laws are effective, and why?
The UNCLOS is a global law and is effective as it is controlled by the United Nations. Many countries have their own laws for overfishing. The United States and the United Arab Emirates have the laws on fishing that are very helpful. However, many coastal countries still don't have laws for sustainable fishing. Coastal countries should have implemented specific laws regarding overfishing so that the issues pertaining to it can be controlled.
Do you think that overfishing happens in Kerala?
ഇപ്പൊ കുഴപ്പമില്ലുണ്ട് ഇത് മത്തിപ്പൊടി ലേറ്റാണ്.
Are there months in Kerala that yield more fish?
ഉണ്ട്. അതായത് വർഷകാലം, അതായത് നമുക്ക് മാർച്ച് ഏപ്രിൽ മെയ് ജൂണില് മെയില് വരുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും കൊഞ്ച്, പരവ, പിന്നെ കൊഞ്ച് പരവ ഇതാണ് മെയിനായിട്ട്.
Has the Kerala government done anything to prevent overfishing?
ഇല്ല, അങ്ങനെ തടയാനുള്ള നിയമം ഇതുവരെ വന്നില്ല. പക്ഷെ എന്നാൽ അതിന്റെ ചർച്ച നടന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതായത് കപ്പല് കയറി ജോലി ചെയ്യുന്നതിന്റെ പേരിൽ പറഞ്ഞ് ചർച്ച നടക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അത് ഇതുവരെ ഒന്നും ആയില്ല, നിയമത്തിൽ വന്നില്ല. ഇതെല്ലാം അവർ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്.
As impossible as it seems, the agents of change for overfishing are students, and we need to start bringing change to the situation of overfishing. To understand our means to bring change, let us understand the issue from the perspective of a science teacher and his advice toward the coming agents of change. Are you aware of the exploitation of fisheries?
So basically, exploitation is when you remove excess of fishes which are not needed, or when you fish them excessively for profit point of view. Also, you have to understand that whenever you do something like that, you are disturbing the normal habitat and the food chain in the waters. So, for example, if you do overfishing of small fishes, then the large fishes cannot feed on the small fishes and their population get hampered. If you fish large fishes too much, then there is no one to feed on the small fishes, so their population sprouts, and again there are lack of nutrients for such high population of small fishes. So that is why there is a reason that whenever there is a spawning season, you are not supposed to fish. There are laws in place, but not everyone follows the law. So exploitation in short is you removing without consciousness, without even thinking twice. You just keep on fishing for profit point of view. That's exploitation.
do you think that we will face a shortage of food one day?
No, I think so. Fish is the one of the most relished delicacies around the world. Everyone likes fish, not just fish, all sort of marine food. So yes, most of our population's diet include fish, and because of over exploitation and exploitation of oceans in terms of fishes, I'm very confident that one fine day we will run out of fishes. And because, as I said in the start, that it is part of huge population's diet, it will hamper the food, the amount of food that will be available for the increasing population. So if we don't stop now, if we are not mindful now, yes, I'm confident that one fine day we'll run out of fishes.
What can students do to help prevent overfishing?
Now, as a student, there's not much that can be done, because when we are talking about this issue, it's a global issue, and you really need to be on a decision-making team in order to make a great impact. But you can start with a small step of spreading awareness about it, because not everyone knows about this. Everyone likes to eat fish, but I don't think so everyone know how they are fished, or how is that fish in the plate on the first place, by what means. So you have to make them aware about how all the malpractices that are happening, and because of that how the population of fishes has been impacted, and because of that so many other things are impacted. So as a student, I would say that you can have a day dedicated to this concern, like how we have a World Heart Day, AIDS Day. We can have Save Waters Day or something on those lines, and wherein you spread out to huge masses, just not in the school but outside the school also, showing them the video, making posters about how exploitation is happening, so that people become a little mindful when the people who are eating fish 7 times a week, they will reduce it to, let's say, 2-3 times, so that will reduce the pressure on fisheries. So yeah, that's what you can do as a student.
Every living organism on planet Earth is a piece in Jenga. The pieces are on each other for structure and support. If one piece is removed when it's not supposed to, the entire structure comes crashing down. Removing fish that play key or outsized roles in food webs alters the larger dynamics of ocean ecosystems. For example, many fish eat the algae that keeps coral reefs clean and thriving. In areas where these species have been overfished, the algae overgrow the reef, killing corals and negatively impacting the many species that call the reef home. If we're talking about humans in particular, the official WWF sites states that as the largest traded food commodity in the world, seafood provides sustenance to billions of people worldwide. More than 3 billion people in the world rely on wild-caught and farmed seafood as a source of animal protein. This means that if overfishing gets out of hand, millions of people around the globe could lose a significant source of protein in their diets. More importantly, the fishing industry will take a massive loss. So let's listen to a marine biologist to understand his viewpoints and opinion on the exploitation of fisheries and methods to achieve sustainability. How does overfishing impact the marine ecosystem?
Problem is with the big trawlers. The big trawlers, they use big drag nets. So they drag the net on the seabed and then they pull it up. So what happens is when they drag the net on the seabed, all the corals and the ecosystem on which the fishes live, that is finished. Number two is, this is a $350 billion industry, and there is no central laws that everyone should follow. Like the United Nations, they have a committee called the United Nations Convention Law of the Sea. Law of the Sea is very specific. There are certain days you should do fishing. There are certain seasons that you should do fishing. So what happens is when they catch the big fish, then there is only small fish remaining, and then they continue fishing. They are not able to reproduce. You see, it goes in a cycle.
Are sharks affected by overfishing?
Have you heard about the dish called shark fin soup? That is the most delicious dish in China, Korea. What they do, they catch hundreds of sharks. Just for the fin of the shark, hundreds of sharks are caught by one boat, and they come back with only 5 tons and 10 tons of shark fin only, and they throw the shark back into the water. Now can you imagine a shark without a fin in the water, how long it will live?
Are any economic problems posed by overfishing?
Certain type of fishes and turtles, they eat jellyfishes. Now if you see all over the world, there is a very big, it's worse than the corona pandemic, because maybe you don't know about it, but if you check with the news and if you check with the marine agencies, you will come to know how many power plants had been shut down recently in UAE just because of jellyfish. Fish population is increasing. Jellyfish, they multiply by millions, you see. Each jellyfish, they give birth to they put around 1 billion eggs. So the problem all over the world right now is jellyfish population is like, and nobody has a solution for jellyfish, you see. And this is affecting our power plants, ports, all the intakes of the desalination plants.
How can we achieve sustainability in fishing?
To rebuild that ecosystem, the government is doing a lot. I hear they are making artificial reefs and other things, but that will take a lot of time for it to, to grow as a habitat. So this destruction, the rules are not being followed. There are certain rules put by United Nations Law of the Sea, like the size of the net, you see. So even if you go by that rule, and if there is no control over that, there is no limit on that, you have to leave certain adults for reproduction. They do matter, but that too has to be regulated by the government. They have their studies, they have their marine biology studies, they know what is the volume of the fishes in these waters. They know what is the break-even time or turnaround time for the fish to reproduce. So they can put the cycles, they can put the timings, they can put all those things in place. The fishermen will need guidance by central authorities from the marine departments.
According to multiple credible sources and esteemed guests on Into the Blue, overfishing, or as the Spanish say, sobrepesca, is a disastrous consequence for the marine ecosystem. In addition, the process in which fishing of seafood is carried out is also harmful in ways we don't pay attention to. Fishing nets scrape the seabed, getting rid of corals, phytoplankton, and any natural source of nutrients and vegetation. This in turn decreases the area for fish to safely reproduce, as they need all vital nutrients and food to thrive. If we, students, teachers, fishermen, and people don't take care of this now, our oceans will go extinct. If food chains are disturbed, it will be very difficult to catch fish, eventually leading to expensive prices. In the present, We're all enjoying our life with a variety of foods. But just think, in 20 years, you may never see that perfectly seasoned fish ever again.